Hello and welcome to Season 11, Episode 2 of the Data Governance Podcast. And this week I am thrilled to be joined by Dmytro Lugovyi, who is a long-term data governance friend, and I just love listening to him give data governance advice. So it's an absolute honor to welcome him onto the podcast for you all to benefit from his expertise. So let's dive in and see what he has to say. This podcast is sponsored by Collibra. My conversation on their Data Citizens Dialogues podcast was a highlight where I shared practical advice on creating clarity around data definitions and making data sharing more reliable. I'm thrilled to announce that Collibra's just launched a new season. So if you're looking for actionable insights for data governance leaders to enhance data culture and governance practices, make sure to add it to your listening list. Tune in at collibra.com/podcast. You won't be disappointed. So, Dmytro's been doing data governance for about a third of his life, and he's put literally 33% in the notes he provided to me. And this shows you know when you're always dealing with a good, exact data governance person when they actually work out percentages for you. But he's been helping people make better decisions and get real results. And I think it's fair to say Dmytro is considered somewhat of a thought leader who loves creating new ways of working with data, frameworks, methodologies, and best practices. And that's what, what drives him most is seeing the data governance space grow, knowing that he's part of it. And he, in his words, he said maybe even contributed to that progress. He has definitely contributed to that progress. And I always love a chance when Dmytro and I can get together and talk about data governance. So I've been looking forward to today for a while now. So welcome to the podcast, Dmytro.
Thank you so much, Nicola, for having me. And I have to say that, like, when I just was about to start doing the data governance, I was looking for people on the web who share, who already part of it. And I remember I found one of the articles from you, how to find a data owner, right? So, and it was a huge challenge. I mean, at the beginning. Now probably everybody understand, right? So who is a data owner? They're looking for the data stewards. At that moment, it helped me a lot. So yeah, I'm really happy that now after many years, we're having this conversation. So, and both of us like part of this story for a long time now. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Dmytro. So, as you know, because I warned you, there's a number of questions I like to ask my guests when they come on this podcast. And, all with an aim of trying to get my listeners, giving them some really practical advice. So I personally think that there's a number of characteristics that the successful people at data governance seem to display. So I wondered, what characteristics do you have that you think are the ones that make you successful at data governance, and why is that?
It's a good question. So in terms of how to judge yourself, how to think like who you are and what helps you to be better. So I think like consistency and dedication probably would be a good answer, because if I'm annoyingly persistent, like my wife likes to say, and it probably helps me because of the data governance is not about perfection, right? So it's about constant effort, and it's like like a fireplace you have in the corner of your cold house in winter, and as soon as you stop adding some wood there, it will run out of fire and it will get you cold. So you need to invest in it, put your constant efforts to make this flame burning and just giving something back. So yeah, I think it helps me to keep this the wheel spinning, spinning and just doing something. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that analogy of the fireplace, because that's really, really true. If you don't keep putting wood on the fire, it will go out. And that is so true at data governance. I'm going to have to use that one. That is a brilliant one. Thank you, Dmytro. So obviously, you've been doing data governance for a very long time. And I think it's always nice to reflect and think, what would we have done differently, or what do we wish we'd known when we were just starting out with data governance? So is there anything you wish you'd actually known when you were just starting?
Yeah. Another challenging question. So retrospectively think about it. I wish I would know that data governance adoption activities are so critical, probably. Many years ago, when I just joined this data governance area, I thought okay, we implemented the use case and it's a good use case, so we can just move on. That's it. So job is done. Like, we build the integration between two databases, job is done. But with time, I think I realized, and everybody realized, that even the best use case implemented without adoption of change management activities around it will collapse with time. So in physics, people use this term entropy, that explains that every system has a tendency to degradation. So when the energy just disappearing and just and you need to keep it working, you need to put energy from outside. So this is like, perpetuum mobile that doesn't exist. So this is if I would know about this before, like 10 years ago or something, I think that I would have more successful, like and more users on the use cases and the platform at some point. So yeah, and this is what we do now. Yeah.
No, I really like that. That's a really good way of describing it, isn't it? That entropy. But you should write a blog on that one. I think that would be really useful because I think, as even just listening to you, I was thinking of all these instances where I've spoken to people where they say, well, I did all this and it worked for a few months and then it stopped. Well, of course it did, because they weren't still there reminding people and keeping putting the energy. And it really is energy when you're doing data governance. So I think that was such an excellent example, Dmytro. So, I know you spend a lot of your day actually giving advice to people on how to do data governance. So I was thinking, well, so you must have some really good advice here. So, I think a lot of people listen to my podcast because they're fairly early or very early in their data governance journey. So I wondered if you'd got any particular advice for, anybody who's listening who's just starting data governance.
First of all, and I think this is what I do now, and this is what I explain every day, like 3-4 times to different customers, working with them. So be ready for a long journey, and always focus not on how the path will look like first, right? So think about where you want to be, where you're going. And then as soon as you understand where you want to be, you can draw this path, right? So in the morning, open a city mapper or Google Maps. So thinking about, I need to get there. And then the Google map helps you to draw the path, right? So, and sometimes people are so busy thinking about, oh, what needs to be done? What do we need to buy? What do we need to implement? So instead of that, so maybe it would make sense to find a path, find a goal first, right? And then moving towards this and changing in the kind of focus and shifting this depends, like adopting to the kind of some new surprises, some new processes, new information that coming from outside. So, and people are sometimes so busy implementing something that they forget about the goal, the target, that where we're headed. So I think this is kind of would be the advice. So think about the goal first, ask yourself why we are doing that, where we want to be, and then start building the path towards that. Yeah.
That is such excellent advice. And yeah, I would totally agree, because I think a lot of people get so het up about the what, and they're trying to design this amazing framework and they can't explain to anybody why we're doing it. And why would I do it? Just because you go, I've designed this lovely framework, I'll be going, that's nice. What's it going to do with me? And we've got to be able to explain what we're aiming for. And as long as the people want what we're aiming for, then it's a much easier conversation.
Absolutely. And then sometimes if you work in the data office and someone coming to you and say like, hey, Nicola, can you please just, build a catalog and build a governance process around my data sources? And you say like, why? And this person, oh, because of like, it would be nice to have a data lineage in my data source. And you say like, why? And the person like, I mean, it's a common sense. But we are not now in the position when we can invest in a common sense. It's no longer the case. We have a budget competitions. We have really a lot of less people and more work to be done. So we need to actually really answer the question why we are doing that, right? Before starting building like a great catalog, I don't know, lineage, data quality solution, whatever.
No, definitely. So one thing I didn't ask you at the start of the interview, but something that I always love to ask people is actually how long have you been working in data governance? But also more interestingly, how did you get into it? Because I think we all come to data governance from very different paths, and I'm always dying to know. Actually, I do know one. I'm asking so that my audience here, because this is something you told me a few years ago. But please share how your data governance origin story.
Yeah, so why would I do that, right? So it's a good question. My first Collibra project, and I started actually my path with data governance with Collibra, was in 2011, like 14 years ago, when I was in the Ukraine. So I'm originally from Ukraine, and there I worked on the project, the biggest telecom operator, helping them to build a data governance. So actually, at that moment, nobody could understand what the data governance is, how it works. Although people, I think, already started understanding, like, okay, data is a kind of an asset, but still they couldn't connect the pieces together, right? So, and they were not sure where the data should be governed and so on. So that 14 years ago, I joined the company that was pioneer on the market, and I was a bit younger. I had less gray hair, and I had more energy and desire and so on. But yeah, kind of it was a long path. So, and before that, I worked in the banks, in the financial sector. I was a part of the consultancy company, building a data warehouse and BI systems and everything, and CRM systems. And so, working in that area, working with business people, working in the business. So I knew what are the data challenges. And when this kind of data governance showed up, I thought, like, wow, it would help me 5 years ago. So maybe now I can join this workforce, this motion, this movement, and I can help others. I can just, it's interesting because of this problem always was there, and now we have a solution. So yeah, kind of, I'm happy that that at that moment I made this decision, and my previous experience helped me actually keep helping me to do my job.
Excellent. You're clearly so passionate about it. And I do think that it comes from a lot of that comes from feeling the pain first and then saying, oh my God, you have this light bulb moment here. This is what's going to solve those problems. I think that is something that I think a lot of the people that are perhaps the most passionate and enthusiastic about data governance have all had in common, regardless of their path. We've experienced some pains from a lack of data governance, and then we realize this is the answer, which is great. So I love the fact that your day job these days is focusing on the value of data governance. So, I just wanted to ask you, how do you actually describe the value of data governance so that we're not just doing it for best practice?
Oh yeah, it's a kind of $1 million question, right? Sometimes it's $5 million question, sometimes less, sometimes more. But if we oversimplify it, I think we have all of us, we have a data challenges, right? And we built some kind of solution that changed the way how people work with the data. So we're trying to fix those problems, and in this way, we kind of help people be more efficient, changing the way how they work with the data, building the capabilities that allow them to do something they never ever would be able to do, or it would take them so long and it would be so inefficient. So this gap between before and after helps us understand the immediate benefit, right? So this is the value you can immediately show, you can track, and so on. But on top of that, we want to demonstrate the impact, right? So from this efficiency we create, from this kind of extra time we save for the company. So, and this is what I just mentioned before, that kind of why we are doing that, right? And so where are we heading? Because of what we do is not helping. Our goal is not to help 5 people find a data lineage, like, an example, when someone coming to you and asking to build a catalog for the data source. Our goal is to understand that from these extra capabilities, from these extra features we will create, we will see the impact on the organization. And talking about this business value, people usually identify, I think, three groups, right? So it's a generate more money. It's second, save more money. And third one, mitigate the risks. And avoid negative financial impact. So this is like a two layers we would like to talk about, and I always explain this to people and customers I'm working with. Think about first efficiency of your people and new capability, but also think about the impact you create to the organization.
Yeah, it's so true. I was delivering some training to some data stewards for one of my clients yesterday. And we were trying to do exactly this kind of conversation about we're not doing data governance because somebody just woke up one day and thought it was a good idea. And it's going to solve real problems and deliver real value. And I was giving some examples of some inefficiencies in another part of their organization because we've only just implemented data governance in this area. And somebody just kind of immediately went, oh, because there's this thing and we always get it through and we never have the right category code. So then somebody has to extract it. We have to manually work them out, put them in, load the spreadsheet back in before we do our process. And I went, exactly. That's what I call data wrangling. And we waste so much effort. So I think efficiency is just such a key driver for most people. And then you get the other benefits as well. So I think that's really, really important that people think about the value of it, not doing it for best practice. So I think it's really easy in a nice short conversation, and I knew you and I would agree, and we're just going, oh, this is great. You just go and you make a value case, and it's easy. But I always like to finish my podcast interviews with some practical advice for the people who are listening to this. So I wondered, what advice would you give to somebody who's listening to this, who's trying to identify the best use cases in their organization for data governance?
I think, and this is tricky questions because of the business goals will be different for every organization. Every organization is unique. They have different structure, position, and mission, strategy, goals, so on. And thinking about this data strategy that supports you, supposed to support business strategy, ideally, means every use case should have at least one business goal connected, right? So, and this business goal should not be like we need to improve data quality. This is not the business goal. This is the tactics of the way how we will get to the business goal, how we will achieve it. And the business goals can be like, I don't know, like modernized technology architecture, right, to cut the costs. So we did it in one retail company. So we built a catalog lineage to identify the overlap and remove all unnecessary data and sources. Or business goal can be decreased time to market for the new products and services. So of course you can see and bring data transparency and improve data quality to help people make faster and more efficient business decisions around the new data products and services to be rolled out, right? The third one, this what we talked about, this mitigation of the risks. So the business goal can be protect IP, right, with the controlled data usage. Again, here we can probably, for some people, will be quite obvious. Oh, we need to put the policies and standards and so on. But yeah, this is exactly how we do that. So this is the business goals. And to find this good use case, business use case, not the data use case, business one that connected to the business goal, we need to talk to the business stakeholders. Talk to them, ask what you're doing now. What are your business priorities? So what data you're using as part of your everyday work? What data challenges block you from being more efficient and deliver your results and the goals faster? And it will help you narrow down the scope and find those elements that needs to be fixed. Those problems needs to be fixed. Those capabilities needs to be implemented to deliver value to the specific business goal, to the specific business department, helping them. So my advice would be, don't start from fixing data problem. We cannot fix all of them. It's not possible. You can't achieve 100% of the data quality. It's not possible. So start from the business goal you want to achieve, and then think about what data problems then connected to it, and then build solution for them. Describe people, the personas, identify them who will be using this solution at the end of the day, define success metrics, monitor them, and then move on. So it's not, to be honest, not the rocket science, but this structure definitely needs to be there. So, yep, this is probably would be my advice for today.
And I think that is just wonderful advice, Dmytro, because I'm terrible. I'm kind of thinking, I can't remember whether I did it as a blog or a video, but I did something just earlier this year on why the words "so what" are the most important words when it comes to data governance. And it's exactly that, because I was thinking of it as you were talking, because I did that in the early days. I'd go, Dmytro, I'm going to do data governance and I'm going to improve data governance. And then somebody like you would go, data quality, whatever. And you'd go, well, so what? And I go, we'll have better quality data. And you go, so what? I don't care. And so this linking it back to business goals is absolutely vital. So, and you articulated it so well with some great examples there. Okay. It's been an absolute pleasure, Dmytro, and it was worth the long wait while we tried to get this sorted out. So thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing your excellent advice.
Thank you so much, Nicola, for having me. I think let's do this next time in real life, maybe on a big stage or somewhere else. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and I wish everyone a great rest of the day then. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those episodes that you might need to go back and replay and make lots of notes on, because I just love listening to Dmytro and all his pearls of wisdom. And, you know, the biggest one, that something I always say, but don't ever use quite the same words as Dmytro. So perhaps it makes more sense when you hear somebody else use a different language, different words to describe things, is this, you know, making sure you tie all your use cases for data governance to real business goals and not talk about things like improving data quality just for the sake of it. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Next week, I'm going to have a look myself in a little bite-sized episode about AI governance. And, you know, as a data governance person, do we need to care about it? So join me next week to find out more about whether we really need to care about AI governance.